Tonight, the celebrations continue as young and old honour our Olympic golden girl. Local MP Katrina Hodgkinson demoted just days after voting against her own government. A resurgent Gundagai out to stop the Bulls and book a place in the decider. And a bright weekend ahead as winter sunshine makes a welcome return.
This is PRIME7 News at 6 with Freya Cole.
Good evening. Wagga's rolled out the red carpet for our gold medalist Alicia Quirk. Her homecoming's been filled with fanfare and excited fans, and today Alicia had the chance to return to her old schools and inspire the next generation to follow their dreams.
It was a line that snaked back 30 metres. Hundreds of locals lined up to meet our very own gold medalist Alicia Quirk in her official welcome home, and of course get a treasured snap or two. Today the city's Rugby Sevens champion returned to her old school, Kildare Catholic College. The former school captain hopes to inspire young country kids to follow their dreams, and the inspiring message certainly wasn't lost on students.
I was definitely watching her. Yeah, it was pretty inspiring for her to be on, the Olympics and then, come back.
I was just shocked to go, oh my God, I'm actually going to meet a golden Olympian. This is exciting.
Alicia hopes to be able to use her new high profile to promote the new Olympic sport to up-and-coming athletes.
Our whole team is really passionate about setting a platform for Rugby Sevens to be a great sport for young girls and young boys to play, and to be able to then have that put into the community and to Wagga.
What's next for Wagga's golden girl? The jet setter's off for a well-deserved holiday in Mexico. Then it's straight back into training with the Sevens girls for the World Series, with an eye on the ultimate prize, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Caitlin Dugan, PRIME7 News.
An elderly man from Young is fighting for life in a Sydney hospital after scalding his body in hot water. Priscilla Mocker is at Wagga Hospital, where he was airlifted from today. Priscilla, how did he suffer these burns?
The 80-year-old man was incredibly unlucky, Freya. He was filling up his bath with very hot water and he was waiting to get in when he slipped and fell. It's likely he was knocked unconscious and he lay there in the scalding water until his daughter found him. He was rushed to Young Hospital and later taken to Wagga. Today he was airlifted to Sydney's Concord Hospital, where he remains in a critical condition.
No good at all. Thank you, Priscilla. Priscilla Mocker there. Nationals MP Katrina Hodgkinson has been dumped as Parliamentary Secretary just days after voting against her own government on the greyhound racing ban. The Cootamundra MP defied her government on Tuesday night. Today she learnt via a media release that she'd been demoted. Another MP who voted against the ban, Chris Galaptis, has also been sacked as a Parliamentary Secretary. Ms Hodgkinson said she would rather have opposed the ban so she could sleep at night, and she's been overwhelmed by support since her sacking. The local greyhound racing community says a government compensation package will struggle to meet their complex needs. They're also arguing it should have been put in place earlier to spare thousands of people unnecessary heartache.
With the stroke of a pen, the greyhound racing world has been turned upside down. As shockwaves ripple through the industry, the state government's promising compensation.
I'm confident. That's why we've engaged a specialist to talk with the community about what is appropriate to help assist in this very, very difficult issue.
But with everything from lost earnings to butcher's bills to consider, there are serious doubts about how effectively the government can patch the wounds left by the ban.
I don't know how you can put a figure on it. I really don't. And individually, look, some people might have 4 dogs, some may have 30. I don't have any confidence in this government whatsoever in fulfilling their promises.
John Patton believes the compensation should have been included in the bill, or at least agreed to, before it was rushed through Parliament. Wagga's track manager says the uncertainty adds insult to injury for his 17 employees.
Everyone's just more or less stressed and upset, and they don't know where their future is at the moment.
The dogs will be running at Wagga's track this Sunday. Chris Meldrum, PRIME7 News.
A key piece of infrastructure to develop the long-anticipated Bowman Rail Intermodal Hub is on track to begin. The contract to build a $23 million road network has been awarded, with work to begin in the next month. The project will unlock hundreds of hectares of industrial-zoned land, allowing easier road access through Bowman Business Park. The state government will chip in $80,000 towards a new walking and cycling track in Wagga. The gravel track will stretch more than 2 kilometres, linking the Hampton Bridge site and the Wiradjuri wetlands. Wagga Council will provide the remaining $150,000.
Working with your council rather than fighting with them, and it's about working with your mayor and the council staff to bring about outcomes that will improve the environment, that will improve access tourism, all of those things that are important to communities.
It's expected the track will be completed in time for locals to enjoy it this summer. New beds made for morbidly obese patients have been wheeled into the Wagga Hospital. The beds come with hoists that will remove a heavy burden from our health workers.
This hospital bed is wider than most, but it's one of the easiest to wheel around. It can take patients who weigh up to 450 kilograms. Wagga's hospital is bringing in 13 bariatric beds to treat a region with the highest number of morbidly obese people in the state. It's one of just 3 hospitals in Australia to get the beds, and staff say the $170,000 cost is worth every cent.
They won't be jolted when they're being moved. They're not having to be manually lifted.
Nurses are straining as it is to lift patients from regular beds, so these wider rooms should take a load off. A heavy-duty lift and hoist will ease the burden for staff who often grapple with chronic back pain.
Quite often it's not just a case of the actual lifting, it's the twisting and trying to manoeuvre a heavy client.
Mr. Kuiper treats countless aches and pains. While staff know the right techniques for heavy lifting, they sometimes fall by the wayside when it's busy.
Our bodies are not necessarily coping with that strain of doing it constantly all the time.
The beds actually expand to meet the needs of larger patients. Staff will be trained to use this hoist and the beds in the coming weeks.
All our staff should come to work happy and safe, and they should go home unharmed by the work that they've done throughout the day.
Priscilla Mocker, PRIME7 News.
The Farmers Federation has welcomed a reorganisation of the police force with a special focus on rural crime. The government says the restructure will include a Deputy Commissioner for Regional Field Operations. Theft, trespass and vandalism are costing farmers millions of dollars each year. Farmers are also calling for a minimum fine of $5,000 for trespass. Well, let's take a look at today's temperatures now. Got the satellite picture up first, and as you can see, nice and clear across the Riverina, which explains why we had some pretty chilly starts but a really nice sunny day. But in Batlow, that was the only area that recorded any significant rainfall with 6 millimetres in the last 24 hours. Let's take a look at today's temperatures though. Top of 13 in Adelong and Gundagai. Junee got to a top of 12 degrees. West Wyalong today got to a top of 14 degrees. Pretty chilly start in Temora, but got to a top of 13 degrees, and so did Cootamundra and Young. Hardin today got to a top of 12 degrees, and Tumut again. That chilly morning has all got to do with that high pressure system over our region at the moment, and we're getting to a top of 13 degrees and some pretty nice clear sunny skies. The dams, Wyangala is sitting at 92%, Burrinjuck is at 88%, and Blowering Dam is sitting at 79%. And coming up, new help for families with disabled kids, and young entrepreneurs fine-tune their business skills.
And at 6:30 tonight, a man with an axe turns on fire crews as his weatherboard home goes up in flames. The scale of the damage revealed as central Italy is rocked by aftershocks. And the royals come clean about their own emotions during a charity visit. All those stories and the day's national news coming up next at 6:30. Hope you can join us then.
Regional Express has recorded a $10 million loss in the past financial year, but says it doesn't plan to cut services. The regional airline has blamed some of the loss on the end of a contract with the Defence Force. Rex has recently opened new routes in Western Australia and expects it to be profitable. It's the first loss the company has recorded in around 15 years. Daffodil Day was marked today around our region with thousands of dollars raised for the fight against cancer. 30 years after the first annual cancer fundraiser, more patients are surviving the deadly disease than ever before.
A sea of yellow for a powerful cause. Cancer survivor Carolyn Shaw was first diagnosed with cervical cancer in 1987. She's since faced 2 more cancer outbreaks, but bravely fought them off, running stalls almost every Daffodil Day to raise money for research.
Back in those days, I think cancer wasn't really heard of right back in the beginning, but now there's lots of treatment that, sort of for people that have now been, that are survivors now.
That's thanks to the work of volunteers like her. Since it began, the annual event's raised $130 million for cancer research, support and prevention. 27 stalls in Wagga alone today will raise over $50,000 for the charity. That's money spent on essential programs for locals.
For example, Sun Safe, Sun Smart. We also do Lilia Lodge, which is in Wagga, which is an accommodation facility for cancer patients. We also run a transport to treatment program too.
Since the first Daffodil Day back in 1986, cancer has overtaken heart disease to become the biggest killer of Australians. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Since then, survival rates have improved to record rates.
You can see the statistics there that there's a 65% survival rate after the 5 years, which is over double in the last 20 years.
An amazing effort the whole community can be proud of. Tom Major, PRIME7 News.
Wagga school kids have been honing their entrepreneurial skills through a business program designed to prepare them for the future. Starting with just $20, they set out to create their own business while helping a great cause.
$20 can go a long way. Just ask these Year 11s from Wagga Christian College. They've made big bucks since their teacher challenged them to turn a single red note into an entrepreneurial success.
We're supposed to do a business that helps the society in one way or another. So what we've done is we've done a cleaning business and we just try to make a profit out of that.
But they're not just in it for the money. Part of the funds raised go to a charity nominated by the students.
We are supporting Jacob's Well, where they go into poverty-stricken villages and stuff and they set up these wells so they can have fresh, clean water, and also they give the children and women as well education.
Their business studies teacher couldn't be more proud. His classroom of 16-year-olds are well on their way to career success, learning by experience and example along the way.
You can't teach that, and it's been great to give them the opportunity through NAB and through the $20 bus program to go, well, what's this really about and what's business? What does it take?
With $700 in profits already and 3 weeks to go, the team's success has led to a whole new issue.
And they're like, we've got too many customers, we put our business up on Facebook and we don't know what we're doing. And
a problem many businesses can only dream of. Tom Major, PRIME7 News.
Dozens of Wagga's healthcare workers are learning better ways to help dying patients in their last stage of life. Our carers are the first in Australia to do the government-funded course to help deal with the emotional needs of terminally ill people. The Amaranth Foundation is leading talks on helping sick people and their families deal with a devastating diagnosis. Palliative carers and medical staff will learn to recognise mental illness and therapies to help prove it.
We can't make it easier for people to die, but we can make that living in the last year of life just a little bit less frightening, more comforting.
Case studies and research have been developed in Wagga. Scientists from the University of New South Wales have made a fertility breakthrough, a less invasive alternative to IVF. The treatment means less pain, lower cost and improved side effects, but above all, it's a godsend for couples living in country New South Wales.
Bringing baby Bronte into the world wasn't easy for mum Kate, who went through IVF.
Giving the injections and waiting for your next blood test results, and it was just an ongoing thing for a good month or 6 weeks.
That's 6 weeks of being prodded and poked.
The injections were hard at times.
But this painful and distressing process could soon become a thing of the past, thanks to a team of scientists led by Robert GILCHRIST from the University of New South Wales. They have discovered a way to improve a woman's chances of falling pregnant using a less painful and cheaper alternative called IVM. During IVF, a woman is given heavy doses of hormones, but with IVM, new growth hormones are delivered to the egg directly in a lab.
In IVF, women get 1 to 4 weeks of drugs
whereas in IVM, maybe about 3 days. We hope in the future we'll be able to remove them altogether.
Robert Gilchrist grew up in Sawtell and believes people in the regions will benefit most.
The reason is because when you go through an IVF cycle, you need to be monitored afterwards. You need to make sure that you're going to be safe. And so often you need to stay in close proximity to a hospital.
We had to travel to Sydney, so that was over 2 weeks. We had about 4 or 5 days in Sydney.
That monitoring isn't needed with IVM. Couples probably only have to wait a year or two for the procedure. Trials are in their final stages. Whatever the method, it's all worth it in the end.
Getting to wake up to a little smile every day is pretty nice.
Hopefully the treatment will give more people their own happy ending. Serena Nastasi, PRIME7 News.
Coming up in sport, the last chance for 2 Farah League teams and a Group 9 final spot up for grabs. It's the last chance for the Rock and Northern Jets in tomorrow's Farah League minor semi-final. While on Sunday, Coleambally and East Wagga fight for this year's first grand final spot.
It's do or die for the Rock and Northern Jets. The Magpies weren't a pretty sight last weekend when they met Coleambally, managing just 2 goals for the game. The defending premiers aren't ready to go out in straight sets.
I think there's something for us to prove. Like, what we dished up on the weekend wasn't really acceptable for the Rock community and definitely the playing group, so there's a bit of fire in the belly to come out and rectify that for sure.
Mitch Hadrell's the league's player of the year for a reason. A blinding last quarter saw him almost single-handedly keep the Jets' season alive in the elimination final. For the Rock, he'll be the man to shut down.
When he's up and running, he is their team, so I think it's just going to fall on every single one of us to do our team thing and try to, if he's there to, I guess, put a block on, you put a block on, and yeah, that's about it really.
The Rock will miss the man who led them to a premiership last season. Dave Pieper is out with broken ribs after coming off second best in a tackle last weekend against Coleambally. For the Blues, it's East Wagga who stands in their way of a grand final spot on Sunday. They're a win apiece when they've met this season, but it was the Hawks who did the most damage in their victory. Just 2 weeks ago, they embarrassed Collie at Gumley, keeping them to just a goal. That game's at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon at Robertson Oval. Lauren Markham, PRIME7 News.
It's game on at Bolton Park Stadium tomorrow night as Wagga's toughest ladies battle it out on blades. The Wagga Derby Dogs are hosting Melbourne's Kingston City Rollers in a roller derby bout. Tomorrow's match is the first of 2 home events for the Derby Dogs, who are looking to make their mark on the city teams literally. The physical sport could turn nasty as our Murderous Crows ladies team fight for victory. After that, there'll be a mixed scrimmage where men and women team up. A Group 9 grand final spot is up for grabs when the reigning premiers meet South City tomorrow. Gundagai are on the back of a good win over Junee, but is it enough to stop the Charging Bulls?
Group 9's top 2 meet tomorrow for a chance to put themselves in the grand final. South City will be fresh from the week off, but the Tigers head in with some confidence after a solid win in the qualifying final. Blake Dunn watched from the sidelines with an ankle injury, and it will be no different this weekend. While he's missed being out on the field, he's seen a few players really step up this final series.
Kieran Pearce played really well off the bench for us at front row. I thought his carries probably turned the game. And also Brett Eccleston led from the front as he has all year. He's been playing brilliantly. So, those 2 guys were pretty instrumental in turning our fortunes around last week.
South City's halves look to be as dangerous as ever. The Tigers will need to slow their run if they want to match it with the minor premiers.
Nathan Rose and Kyle McCarthy are very dangerous, especially their running games are pretty strong, and they obviously got good ball skills. They've got really good outside backs in O'Sullivan and Maguire that they'll try and hit. So, I think we need to stop their go forward first.
The game kicks off at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon at the Bulls' home ground, Harris Park. Lauren Markham, PRIME7 News.
And that's sport for now, but stay with us. We'll have the weekend weather outlook in just a moment. Welcome back. Well, the last weekend of winter is looking to be pretty ideal. Look at that high pressure system circulating over the Riverina, and that's going to bring some pretty chilly starts, but some nice clear sunny skies, which is pretty ideal if you ask me. Taking a look at tomorrow, Wagga, you could see some early morning fog and frost with a top of 14 degrees. Naranda is getting to a nice sunny 15 degrees tomorrow. West Wyalong is also getting to 15 degrees. Grenfell, Cootamundra and Young, -3 in the morning, so do rug up on your way to footy and netball. Tops of 13 degrees though, and as I said, it's going to be a really nice sunny winter's day. Adelong, Tumut, Tumbarumba, you're all going to get some early morning fog in the morning as well. Taking a look at Sunday now, there will be a few clouds coming across the Riverina, but really nothing to worry about. There is no rain on the forecast. Naranda is getting to a top of 17 degrees on Sunday, 17 in West Wyalong. Cootamundra is getting to a top of 16, 17 in Adelong. And let's take a look at Wagga Wagga. Overnight lows of 2 degrees with a top of 16 degrees. Let's take a look at the start of the working week. 18 in Wagga, 19 in Naranda and Griffith. West Wyalong is getting to a top of 19 degrees and overnight lows of 1 degree in Grenfell with a top of 18 degrees. Let's take a look at the sunrise. That is at 6:33 a.m. And taking a look at the next 7 days now, as I said, 16 degrees on Sunday, slightly warmer on Monday with a top of 18 degrees. And if there's any chance of rain forming, it will be on Wednesday. And that's all for now. Up next is Prime 7 News at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson.